I remember my first 1 month. Every day, it was more like every day I was hearing about or getting to know about a new section of the Mental Health Act. And so maybe like the first week, I'm like, okay, I already know this section, I know this section, I know that section. And then the following week, I attend a meeting and then I get to hear about a new section. And I'm like, okay, what exactly is it about these sections? When it comes to mental illnesses, it's more like is a all or none thing. It's either you know or you don't have any idea. Hey so guys, welcome again to this channel. So guys, it's 1 year already. So I know I was here a few months ago to actually share with you guys how my first 6 months of residency training was. And I know I shared a lot with you guys. And now I'm here to actually share with you what my 1 year of residency training has been like, because officially I have completed my first year. I have done my ARCP, what we call, so ARCP is like an annual report of your progress. And it's what will determine if you're moving to the next year of training. And so now I have been approved to progress to my next year of training. And so officially I have actually completed my first year of training, but then it's not up to 12 calendar months yet. So I'm still in the process, but the main thing right now is preparing myself for the next year. And so guys, in this video today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys it's just a quick summary of my whole experience, because if I decide to talk about everything, this video is not going to end. We are going to talk for a very long time, but then I'm just going to summarize what the experience has been for me. Then also I'm going to share some of my challenges, and I'll also talk about some of the good sides, like the really amazing sides of my training this first year. And I will also be talking about some of the benefits of actually being or considering psychiatry training. And this is because some persons have actually reached out to me and they feel like they are not exactly sure if psychiatry is something they will enjoy, and they just wanted me to talk about what it's been like for me, and to also give my own suggestion, opinion, or advice, if that's what you will call it, so that it could help guide them to in making their decision. And so that's basically what this video is going to be about today. So feel free to actually enjoy this discussion. I guess I'm going to try to make it as fun as possible. So let's get right into it. Hello, my name is Blessing and I am a first year psychiatry training here in the UK, and here on this channel I talk all about medicine and I share my journey as a doctor in training here in the UK. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Feel free to actually join the community. Yes, you're welcome to join us. Okay, so to start with, so in that video where I talked about my first 6 months, if you have not seen that video, then I think you want to see it. I'm going to be leaving a link up here, so you can click on that link, watch that video just to get a picture of what my first 6 months was like. But then if you have actually seen that video, then you would definitely know that my first 6 months was actually not so it wasn't all sweet. I actually had a lot of challenges. I struggled a bit for my first posting. So our postings are usually like in a rotation of 6 months. So every 6 months you rotate into a new posting. And so for my first 6 months, it was for an inpatient psychiatry, general adult psychiatry. So I was in the ward, like in an acute mental health ward. And then for the second half of the posting, which is the current posting I am in, is the community posting. And so I think I've talked all about the inpatient experience in that video, so you might actually want to watch it just to get a clearer picture of what the inpatient experience is like. So, and here in the community, I think I actually want to say that I love community posting. Yes, I can say with all of my chest, because I actually enjoyed community. Like, it's a whole different vibe from the ward setting. Yes, one thing I can really say right now is that the two postings, because they're like two sides of a coin, so it's more like your first year is for you to learn about general adult psychiatry, and it's divided into two parts, which is what the experience is like on an acute mental ward and what it's like in the community. So in the community, it's almost the same thing. There's a lot in common, more like you have to attend MDTs, you have to work with some other professionals like OT, occupational therapists, psychologists, all of that. But there's a whole lot of difference to the fact that patients in the community tend to be more stable compared to patients on the ward who are usually acutely unwell and probably need a lot more care. But patients in the community tend to be more stable and do not need as much care as patients on the ward. And being in the community actually made me see mental health in a different way. You know, a lot of times when people think about mental health, what comes to mind is people who are like functionally impaired and almost not able to really function within the society. But that is not true, because while I was working in the community, I actually had a lot of patients who were living a relatively normal life. They had their family, they had jobs, and they were quite stable. And I even had some patients that they've actually been stable for years and being on their medication with good support. They've not even had to be admitted on an acute mental health ward for over 5 6 years. It was like a major shift from the ward where you see a lot of patients presenting acutely, like in really like being very unwell, and then seeing like patients who are quite stable in the community. So another thing was that I felt much more involved I felt more responsible, because I had patients assigned to me that I had to see, like new patients, and then I have to follow them up. I was saddled with being able to make diagnoses, being able to make treatment plans, though all of this is under the supervision of my consultant, like my clinical supervisor. But then I still have to be seen to be proactive and to be in charge. So I think community actually did that for me. I felt very involved. I felt like, okay, I am really a psychiatrist in training. Other members of the team will actually call you and ask for your opinion about various things. And of course, you have your consultant to always refer back to when you're not sure exactly what to do. But then there was that sense of a lot of people reach out to you to ask for your opinion, and it's more like puts you on your toe. So I think I actually like that about the community. Of course, with the responsibility also comes with, oh my god, I hope I'm doing the right thing. I hope is this how to do it? Am I prescribing the right dose of the medication? Am I prescribing the right medication? But the good thing about it is you have your supervisor to actually guide you through those processes. Generally, I think the community is more chilled compared to the ward. You definitely have a lot of work to do, but then I think it's not like the ward that is fast-paced, and a lot of times the patients in the community are stable both mentally and physically, but patients on the ward could become physically unwell, and they could also be acutely unwell mentally and need a lot of care and attention. So I think the ward is more involving the ward is more demanding, yes, compared to the community. So basically that was what it is. But I think I actually learned a lot from the community, and I saw like various sides to mental health, managing mental illnesses, being a doctor within the community, being able to make some decisions, and sitting in with my consultants in his clinic. I actually learned a lot of things. So I think the outpatient clinic was a lot. I actually learned a lot from that setting. Yes, I know some people are of the opinion that, oh, 1 year may not be enough for you to actually make a decision about something. But I think that maybe in some situation, but in this case, this 1 year is enough for me to actually make a decision that psychiatry is something I want to do for the rest of my career. Because, of course, I've always had an interest in psychiatry from medical school. I think psychiatry has a lot of great areas. Yes, some unanswered questions. There's a whole lot of stigma. Psychiatry for some persons or in some societies is still not very well accepted like other specialties of medicine. One of the reasons why I actually chose psychiatry is because I like psychiatry, so I've been able to establish that. And then the next thing is I think it's also the fact that it actually offers like a good work-life balance. Yes, core training years is probably going to be more tedious compared to the higher training, because here you're learning everything, you're going through everything, and it could be a bit more tedious. But then eventually when you get into higher training and you become very specialized, it tends to get more better. So I think one thing that psychiatrists usually pride themselves in is the fact that psychiatry as a field offers you a good work-life balance. That is, if you're able to manage your responsibilities well. Because I think that even in psychiatry, it's actually still possible, to get burned out and to have a poor work-life balance. Another thing about psychiatry is the fact that as much as every specialty of medicine is tedious, but compared to some other specialties, the workload is not excessive. Yes, you have to see a lot of patients, you have to do a lot of paperwork, but compared to some, I would say that it's not as stressful as some other specialties of medicine. And so if you're somebody that you're looking to, be in a specialty where you'll be able to have some more time for other aspects of your life outside of medicine, then psychiatry is somewhere you might want to consider. I think some of the challenges I actually faced in my first year is the fact that it was a totally new area, because my only exposure to psychiatry was in medical school, and that was a long time ago. So it was more like and now I'm doing psychiatry in the NHS. So it's a system that I'm not used to at all. So it's more like there was a whole lot of things to learning not just psychiatry, but also the NHS work culture, learning a whole lot of things together with the experience of learning psychiatry. So a lot of new terminologies that I had to learn, because it's a whole different language. It's different from what we say in mainstream medicine. This is like a place where there are newer other terminologies that is not regularly used in the other aspects of medicine. I remember my first 1 month. Every day, it was more like every day I was hearing about or getting to know about a new section of the Mental Health Act. And so maybe like the first week, I'm like, okay, I already know this section, I know this section, I know that section. And then the following week, I attend a meeting, and then I get to hear about a new section. And I'm like, okay, what exactly is it about these sections? The legal aspect was actually an interesting one for me. So it's just basically like there's a whole lot of new things to learn. It was different from the mainstream medicine. Things are done differently, like getting used to being in that environment, like having to go with your alarm when you want to review your patients. It was just like a really different setting. So there was so much to learn. So, but I think it gets better by the day. So I think those are some of the challenges that I struggled with, especially in my first posting. But then it's much more better now in my second posting. Is psychiatry a place I want to suggest to someone? I think I would say that at the end of the day, it is still your decision. One thing I feel is very important is you have to get yourself to a place where you are able to like the specialty before going into it at all. Because for some persons, they will struggle if they actually venture into something they don't like. I think for a lot of people, really. But for some persons, they are able to adapt and eventually fall in love with it. But for some persons, they are kind of fixed in a way that, they have to enjoy that thing. They have to really love that thing for them to be able to, excel in it. So I think for someone like that, if you're someone like that, then that is something you might want to give a lot of consideration. You might actually want to ensure that you really like the field of psychiatry before you get into it. So if that is settled, now I feel like it also depends on what you want. If you're looking for psychiatry is 6 years here in the UK, so that's actually a long time. And then maybe for someone like me, that I'll go for mat leave, and maybe if at some point I consider less than full-time training, it's going to be longer than that. So it actually depends. If you're looking towards having a shorter training program, then it means that psychiatry may not be the best option for you. But if you don't actually mind the long duration, then that is something you want to consider. Psychiatry gives you or offers you a good work-life balance. There's still a lot of room for research, and there's still a lot of unanswered questions. And so if you're somebody that you're keen about research and things like that, then this is actually a good place for you. I am not saying that there is no room for research in some other fields. There is. I'm just saying that psychiatry is a place where a lot of people, there's growing interest in understanding the human mind, the human brain, and so there's room for a lot of such research opportunities in psychiatry. So I think really those are like the things I can say for now. Maybe with time I may be able to say much more, but I think that if you're somebody that you're looking for somewhere that is not going to put you under too much pressure, that is not going to be too demanding for you, that is going to give you a good work-life balance, and for me, I actually felt very supported. So, and I don't know if that's how it works in other trusts, but then with the level of support I got, then I think that if this is how it is everywhere else, then I feel like the support is actually worth it, especially when I hear what some people go through in some other specialties and all of that. So I feel like it actually still depends on you, on what you really want to do. But I feel like psychiatry is actually like a good place, and probably we also give you time to be able to explore other things, other areas. And there are so many subspecialties, so you still have the opportunity to decide where you want to specialize in. So I hope this video was able to provide you some answers to your question. I don't know if it helped you in any way, but I think for me, I had a great time in my first year, and I'm really looking forward to the next year. Anyway, I plan to carry you guys along, because I'm definitely going to be here to tell you guys about how my second year went and how my third year went. And so this is how I'm going to be ending this video today. Feel free to actually share your thoughts, your comments, ask your questions, and don't forget to like, to comment, to share, and also subscribe to this channel. Until I see you again, take care. Bye.